this way, baby. It doesn't matter. We're all on superstars. I'm beautiful in my way, 'cause I make no mistakes. I'm on the right track, baby. I was born this way. Don't hurt yourself and regret. Just love yourself and you said I'm on the right track, baby. I was born this way, born this way. There ain't no other way, baby. I was born this way, baby. I was born this way. Don't be a drag, just be a queen. I'm beautiful in my way. Oh yeah, yeah. On the right track, baby. I was born this way. Monster ball. We're all born superstars. She rolled my hair and put my lipstick on in the glass of her boudoir. There's nothing wrong with loving who you are, she said, 'cause it made you perfect, babe. So hold your head up, girl, and you'll go far. Listen to me when I say I'm beautiful in my way, 'cause God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track, baby. I was born this way. Don't hurt yourself and regret. Just love yourself and you said I'm on the right track, baby. I was born